Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Tonka Report. Today I have the fortune of having the mayors of Maple Plain and Mound, Mayor Sweeney and Mayor Hanus with me. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, good to be here.
Yes,
So
thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks for being on the Tonka Report. Mayor Hanus, I've never had you on the Tonka Report, so this is a pleasure for me to have a different mayor on.
And for I as well. So
Well, thank you. You know, as we were putting this show together, and I tried to get together some topics that we're going to talk about, I realized that both your respective cities have a special event going on this year, and I think we should start our show off talking about that. Both of your cities are celebrating their centennial this year.
That is correct.
Mayor Sweeney, do you, is Maple Plain planning anything special for your centennial?
Yes, we are. In fact, the council just officially approved a budget at our meeting this week. Our chamber has really taken the lead in this, and we were happy to see them step forward. We've got a 3-day event planned starting August 16th and wrapping up August 18th with a number of things, including a parade, and I guess there's a 5K run and a number of other events. So we're pretty excited about that. And the chamber told us the other night that it's their hope that they can turn this event, or an offshoot of this event, into an annual occurrence. And that was very, very good to hear also.
So if somebody wanted to find out a little bit more about the event, is there a Maple Plain Chamber that they could go to their website?
Yes, and there'll also be information on the city's website.
Okay. So, you know, as we're having this discussion, there'll be a little link on the bottom of the page that we can show so people can go out there and take a look either to the website and find out a little bit more about this. Is there a theme to the centennial? Is Maple Plain known for anything, or besides their darn good mayor?
Well, there's a lot of history, of course, over the 100 years, and I'm not sure what we're known for. I understand that years ago, we were a big producer of raspberries in the area. And of course, Hopkins is well known for that now. Right. But we've got a number of historians in the city that have done a lot of research, and that's also on our website.
Okay.
So we're really, at this point, I guess, trying to establish an identity. We are now the first traffic signal that you encounter as you come out of Minneapolis. Some tell me as you come out of Chicago. And because of that, we're trying to make Maple Plain more of a destination than it has been.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. That was Long Lake's distinguishing until Highway 12 was bypassed. But this weekend, we have it back. Long Lake has all the traffic coming back through town, so this weekend the first traffic stop west of Chicago on 94 is Long Lake again. But that's great to know. And what are the dates again?
August 16th through the 18th.
August 16th through the 18th. And go to the website.
Yeah.
Mark, you as well are having a big centennial hoorah.
We are. As a lot of people know, actually we have an annual festival called Spirit of the Lakes. There's an organization, an LLC, that was created several years ago that take that effort on every year. But this year, with the centennial, we wanted to do things bigger and better than we've ever done it before. So what the city did is it assigned that responsibility of the centennial to the Spirit of the Lakes Board. And so they are doing a joint Spirit of the Lakes Festival with a Mound Centennial Festival this year. And so that is well underway. They actually started planning that early last fall. So this is a very, very large event. Our dates run from July 13th through July 22nd. So it's about 10 days of events. And it's going to be very busy. A lot of things in a lot of different places going on. So I don't know what else to say exactly unless we go into a greater detail on the events. So,
well, we should cover some. As we know, towards the end of the show, we always like to cover a little bit about events that are happening, but this is a big deal. I mean, I would have to believe, besides the topics that we're going to get to, some of the construction and things that are happening in your town, this has been one of the big buzzes in Mound right now.
Right.
A 10-day event, I mean, that's second to Aquatennial downtown. I mean, people just don't have 10-day events. So you should expound on that a little bit more, Mayor.
Would you like to do that now?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Some of these events are, we're taking a couple of days off in the middle of the midweek. But other than that, we're starting on the 13th, which I believe is a Thursday. and no, or Friday. Anyway, this information is available on the web, and we'll give that information in a little while. But they start out with, really the first weekend is the large thing that they're doing is a wellness weekend. And what this really consists of is the Ridgeview Medical Center is giving free health screenings over a day period. They've got all these different appointment times set up. These are free, they don't cost anything, and they give you a good health screening. There's also speakers that are going to be in town, outside, for instance, in our downtown area where our pergola next to the lake there, they're going to be giving health talks to people. These are doctors that are going to be doing this. And it's the whole weekend is really surrounding your health and how to live more healthy and that type of thing. There's also a health fair that first weekend, so that's going to involve different vendors coming in and offering information, help, things of that sort. Should I really run down some of the events? You ready to do that at this point?
Come back through more of it. I'm assuming in this first week you have the Mound Marathon, so you can just see how out of shape you actually are before.
Actually, there are some events later on that are well, a Volks March is on that first Friday. There's also competitive runs. So it's not used for measurement purposes in that respect, certainly, but a lot of the theme of the festival is going to be about health and getting active, I mean, the whole idea of the whole thing is to get out of your house. Sure. Get down, meet new people, meet your neighbors, go out and have some fun, and that's what these events are really designed for, is to get people to meet people and get out and have some fun with your whole family.
Perfect. Yeah. So again, you said it starts July 13th, is that what?
July 13th is the first day, which is, I do believe that's a Friday actually, okay. And July 22nd, and that's a Sunday. So it'll end on the following week later Sunday. Okay. And so, yeah.
You know, at the end of the show, we'll come back for a few other events. So if
Sure.
you want to think about that, we can highlight that a little bit more. You know, I wish as running cities that it was only about festivals and plowing snow and things, but as we all know, there's a lot of other things that go on, and most of them evolve around moving dirt and construction. John, you are dealing with what Long Lake dealt with quite some time ago, and that is Highway 12 is always trying to be improved and move more cars, and what was once in Long Lake is now pushed 4 miles to the west into Maple Plain. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what might be happening with Highway 12 this summer and your traffic?
Sure. This summer, most people know that drive that highway. It's in terrible shape going through town, and we built a bridge on the west end of town, and the highway was closed for 6 months during that process, and the official detour was completely around the community, and it was tough on the businesses. This year, they're going to do a mill and overlay starting sometime shortly after the 4th of July. But the road will not be closed. It'll be limited to 1 lane of traffic during some of the mill and overlay. There's also some turn lanes to be constructed. Actually, what we're doing is finishing off the piece between the signal at 29 that was put in a few years ago and that new bridge construction. We weren't able to reach an agreement with MnDOT over what the final look of that highway should be. So they're actually, well, in working with us, we're buying time also, another 5 to 7 years to figure that out, because originally MnDOT wanted to put a median all the way through town and limit access to 9 businesses, and after what they've gone through, we said, you know, that's not going to happen. So we will have this mill and overlay. Along with that, we've been working very diligently with MnDOT as a council to come up with a safe pedestrian crossing of Highway 12. The highway really bisects our community, well, along with the railroad, so we've got 2 huge obstacles there, and the pedestrian traffic has a hard time getting from one side of town to the other. And we've been very fortunate that there hasn't been a fatality. There have been a number of near misses. And MnDOT is slowly coming along to the city's thinking on this. We've agreed that we'll pay for this pedestrian signal, the location now has been debated in several meetings with MnDOT, and after our last meeting, they said, you know, they think we're near to an agreement. The pedestrian crossing now is at Bud Street on Highway 12. It's right by the library. And with the type of signal we're talking about, MnDOT says that we'll have to move it 100 feet either way from that intersection. They don't want that type of signal at the intersection. So I think we'll have something to announce in the next month on that, and we're trying to coordinate that with the overlay project to be sure we don't have to tear up the new surface. So.
Sure. Well, wouldn't that be the most ideal thing if you could actually not have to redo construction we just paid for 2 years ago? But I hate to be somewhat negative or give the negative thought, but MnDOT's a hard animal to deal with. I mean, we dealt with it and you and I have had many conversations about this. While they do a great job and do some wonderful projects, sometimes in our smaller communities they're more worried about getting that pavement down and the cars through versus the community that's existed there for, in your case, both of your cases, 100 years. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of personality that goes on with those communities that gets stripped when the roads get changed like that. And
that's very true. And over time, you'll see a change in personnel also. You get used to working with certain folks, and then all of a sudden they're transferred somewhere else, and then you start over. So.
Right. Well, please keep us informed on the safety. I hope that it doesn't take a fatality for them to finally realize that they need to put something in. It's, you know, I understand that their goal is to move traffic. I'm repeating myself, but that's, you know, and you know, Maple Plain's a nice town. If they can make that road look a little bit better, and I'm not saying it looks bad now, but if they're going to spruce it up a little bit, it helps your town out every bit as much. Mm-hmm. You know, there's more things that we want to talk about, but I think what we'll do right now, gentlemen, is go to a break, and when we come back, we can talk a little bit about some of the projects that both of you have going on in your respective communities. And we'll wrap it up with talking about some of the fun things that are going to be happening in your communities. And Mayor, you can talk more about Festival of the Lakes.
Sure.
So hang with us. We'll be right back with the Tonka Report.
We interrupt this program to bring you this important message.
The Lake Minnetonka Communications Commission, located in Spring Park, Minnesota, offers free television production classes. You heard it right. Free. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help bring your idea to the big screen.
Why, thank you. We are very friendly and knowledgeable.
From studio lighting and nonlinear editing to on-location shooting, we'll guide you down the path you need to succeed. Hurry in, folks. An opportunity this good won't last forever.
Welcome back to the Tonka Report. As we left for break, Mayor Sweeney was talking about the Highway 12 construction that's going to be happening this summer. In towns like ours, it always seems that there's some sort of construction happening. Mayor, you were talking during the break about some of the special projects, road projects, 10-year project actually, that you've had going on in Mound. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Most of the roads in Mound were actually built and hard surfaced back in the 60s. And as most people know, roads do reach the end of their useful life. Eventually they get to the point where you can't repair them anymore. They just really have to be rebuilt. Along with that, there's a lot of infrastructure underneath them. There's sewer and there's water and many other utilities that can run underneath those roads. So it's usually most cost effective, if you're going to tear up the road, to do what's underneath it as well, rather than come back a few years later and rip it back up again. Right. So that's what we've been trying to do. We designed this as a 10-year project to do all of the roads in Mound. And we are in our 9th year now. We're actually in our 10th year time-wise, but we took a year off a couple years ago. We felt we could delay it for a little while because of the condition of the roads and the economy being what it is. We were able to shift it off just a little bit. We're back now on year 9. We've got another year after that. And then following that, there'll be our MSA roads to do as well. But with that comes, like I said, the sewer and the water, and we've also had water towers that we've had to replace, and it's very, very expensive process. And but people seem to be accepting it rather well. Of course, nobody wants their road replaced when it's time to do it or time to pay for it. But once it's done, people seem to be pretty accepting of that. So yeah, so we're almost at the end, really.
Okay. Mayor, I have not taken a look at your budget and everything. Is this a budgetary item, or do you assess a portion of the project back to each of the residents?
Yeah, and as you know, every city can do it differently. Right. What we do in Mound is we It is an assessable project. We typically assess 2/3 of the project to the gaining properties, and then the city picks up the other third.
Okay. And the 10-year project, is it all roads in Mound except for the MSA roads that you were talking about?
It is all roads except MSA, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's nice. In 10 years, you'll have them completely refinished.
Right. Of course, then you shift into the maintenance, and you try and get 30 or 40 years out of them if you can.
Right. Right. Well, that's the best plan,
Right.
everything considered. So, Mound has been no stranger to construction. As I've driven through there, I've just been amazed at all the different things that have happened. But one thing that you did, and I'm using this as a segue here, you built a park and ride. Has that been successful for Mound?
It has. Actually, the reason for it wasn't just a park and ride. The reason for the parking deck was a predecessor for the downtown redevelopment. And that is what we needed. We've got a small area there to deal with, and we have to build up. We can't go out to an unlimited amount. So it was built as a primary parking for what yet is businesses in there, but they're going to need it. And then, of course, we integrated the park and ride with it, and that's been very successful. And it also helps. We've been under threat from time to time to lose our bus service, and so that helps to maintain that bus service out there too. So.
Well, that is good. I know Met Council likes to cut costs in places like that, and Mound doesn't need our bus, do they? So I was being facetious, obviously. So that was 5 years ago that Mound dedicated about 5 years ago, dedicated the park and ride. And now Mayor Sweeney, Maple Plain is looking to start the whole same thing, build a park and ride. Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about what the plan is, where it's going? And
Sure, that's correct. We, and it has been kind of a pet project of mine for a number of years. The last real job I had was with the city of Plymouth, and I managed the Plymouth Metrolink system as part of my duties for 7 years. So I really developed a love for transit, and that's something I brought out to Maple Plain and have been working for quite some time to get it. We were successful in getting a grant from Hennepin County to acquire 2 properties. It's on the east end of town, just east of our little strip mall, and on the, I always have to turn around to see which direction I'm talking, but it would be on the south.
The north side.
It would be on the north side,
Right.
That's right, yep. On the north side of town, just a few blocks from the highway. We've got the planned design now. We've torn down the houses. Everything is set to go, and we will start construction this year. It will initially be a park and pool lot because we've done it a little differently. We don't have the bus service yet, although we're working with Metro Transit, and they have applied for some funding. So we hope that within 2 years we will have bus service, but we're going to start out with just a park and pool lot for about 180 cars there. So we're excited about that, and in that overall process, we have acquired about $1.2 million in grants to bring this along. So.
Just state grants or federal grants as well?
Just state and county.
Okay. And when does construction start, or has it already started?
No, the plans were just finally approved by MnDOT. They took the full 30 days to review the plans, so it set us back a bit, but I would say sometime in July now, the construction will start.
Okay, and you said it's a lot. It's not a...
It'll be just a surface lot to start with.
For 180 cars, is that what I heard you say? Okay. So, well, that's great. And, one thing that we had just alluded to when your park and ride went together, your elevated parking lot, or however you want to refer to it, was towns like Maple Plain and Mound, and when I was mayor of Long Lake, there's many things that we try to do, but one of the things is that the infrastructure of our businesses are older, and we're always trying to redevelop and get new business and revitalize our downtown. I'm pretty certain, Mayor, that you're doing the same thing out in Mound or in Maple Plain, and that this park and ride is going to help a little bit, but are you looking to revitalize downtown, redevelop?
Oh yes, yeah. In fact, our downtown area is a few blocks away, but where this park and ride is going to go, we've got about 20 acres that are ripe for redevelopment. We refer to that as our gateway district, and there's been a lot of interest in that area. In fact, the the major property owners worked with us on this park and ride. They helped us acquire one of the homes. They thought that it would help so much. And the other area, our downtown area, we've been working with a developer, for almost 2 years now, and we've been pursuing grants to redevelop the downtown district. That would include City Hall. We've tried to incorporate a Hennepin County Library, but the timing of that just worked against us. They opted not to be included in the project, but it would also include the gas station that's on the site by City Hall, Olson's Market.
Okay.
We own, well, almost all of that property. We are trying to acquire Olson's Market, and we're trying to get a grant to do that. And we've got a developer that's very willing and very capable. He's developed a number of things in many communities and continues to own everything he's developed. So we're still optimistic that we're going to make something happen in that downtown area also.
And is the city driving the process more, or is your chamber or private sector driving the projects?
Well, the city is working with this developer on the one. The other, there's 4 landowners involved, and it's been difficult over time to get them all to agree, and then there was the economic downturn that
right.
About the time we had an agreement, everybody got hit with that, and so things have fallen apart. But there's still some interest, and I think the economy is starting to recover, and so we're ready to go on all of this.
Okay, well that's good to know. Mark, you guys have done a lot of redevelopment out in Mound, but I'm certain it's not over for you yet.
No, it certainly isn't. We've got a long way to go yet. I find it interesting when I look at the big overhead or the aerial photographs we have of our downtown. Just before we started, before the dredge was begun to bring the lake downtown, and compare that to what's there today, they almost look like completely different cities. Even the roads have been changed, right. Huge changes. But it's a very slow process. Some people may find it interesting. There's 2 primary hurdles that we've faced from what we've been told by developers that have created an issue to the development. The first one is that they say we don't have a major highway running through town. And they're right, we don't. We do have a lot of traffic running through there, but we don't have a major highway, and we've heard that echoed to us for several years, that's one drawback. The other one is an interesting one. As for instance, restaurants look at coming to our downtown, they say our corporate model says that we need to have so many residents within a certain radius of this site. And anyone who's seen a map knows how much lake is right. Within, for instance, a 5-mile radius. We've only got about half the area that's actually populated because the rest is lake, and they actually consider that a downside. Of course, look at a restaurant anywhere else around the lake, and they do quite well. So, right. but it's fighting the corporate model that has their guidelines, and they have to follow them. But anyway, so recently, as most folks know, we've got a Walgreens in town. They've now been approved. They're moving over to another corner in the downtown, and we consider that to be a very nice kickoff to our Auditors Road area, which is along the waterfront, right. That we're hoping that that's going to stimulate more interest there. We've also found now that the economy is still bad, but we're finding that there's more commercial interest just starting to bubble up now. So we're hoping that things are going to pick up now, and that we're going to get that final road developed, which we're hoping to be really kind of our new downtown road.
Well, good. It's always nice that you as mayors have your eye on the future, realizing that you can't just accept what it is today, and you have to be pushing to get new things done. You have to be the holder of that vision, so thank you to both of you for helping the lake communities grow and push forward.
Great, well, thanks.
As we wrap up here, I always like to talk a little bit about some events that might be happening in your respective towns. Mark, I'm going to come back to you and let you finish with it, because you have nothing against Maple Plain, but a much bigger event and something that's been going on. But John, you have a couple events that are still going to be happening this year. I mean, you have the annual, well, you tell us.
Well, you're talking about our annual farmers market.
Absolutely.
I think this will be our third year. It's going to start July 12th. It runs from 3 to 7 on a Thursday, and we'll hold that the next 6 Thursdays after July 12th. And last year seemed to be down for some reason, but we've developed more interest this year, and that's something we're going to continue.
Good.
Then the kickoff to our centennial event is a movie in the park August 16th. We've done that now for a couple of years, and that's been very successful.
Good.
So that will be the kickoff, and along with the centennial celebration, there will be antique cars and all different kinds of events. And again, as we mentioned earlier, you can check our website for that information.
Perfect. And Mark, you got about a minute here to wrap up with the
Wow.
highlights of Festival of the Lakes.
Okay, well, I'm going to go through a list, and this is by far anything but a complete list. But I mentioned the health screening and the health weekend earlier. There's going to be a Volksmarch, which is a wonderful, it's as much a social event as a walking event. It's non-competitive. People get a medal at the end of it, a memorial medal type thing. We have competitive runs going on this year where people can actually race. We have a beach volleyball tournament on the beach in the park by the lake. Skateboard competitions. We have an adult triathlon, which is a shortened version triathlon. It's a sprint triathlon. We have a kids biathlon. Fishing clinics. We have a kids fishing tournament. 3 different nights we have live music playing till midnight in the park. We have several different spirits tasting events that you can partake in that are really good educational events. They have good speakers that really teach you about what you're tasting. There's beer tasting, wine and sake tasting, and then some spirits as well. There's an antique car and boat show right next to each other on the lake and right across the street from it at the same time. That'll really be fun. There's Arts Fest, business showcase that we always have at Spirit of the Lakes. There's a historic boat tour you can take and a historic bus tour that you can take around the area. And of course, on that last Saturday, there's fireworks, and we consider those the best fireworks on the lake. And it has timed music played in the park at the same time. And that's a really great event. And after that's over, the bands go back up on the stage and play till midnight.
Nice.
So.
And that's
And that's not a complete list. That's just a scratching the surface of what's going on.
Go to your website as well, and
That would be spiritofthelakes.com, and that will give you a good cross-reference of things that are going on.
perfect. And that's July 13th to the 22nd.
That is correct.
Perfect. Well, mayors, thank you so much for coming on and representing your respective cities. I appreciate it. It'll be a while before we have you both on again, but I look forward to having you both here again.
Well, thanks for having us.
Good luck with the centennial celebrations.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us today on the Tonka Report. I look forward to seeing you next time.